Joker is directed by Todd Phillips and stars Joaquin Phoenix, Robert De Niro, and among others. And this is what is considered now the first film in the DC Black universe that DC has decided to go with, separate from the DC Extended Universe, and new line of standalone films to kind of take place outside the DCU that we've been seeing. And in this story, we deal with, set in the 80s, where you have Arthur Fleck, portrayed by Joaquin Phoenix, who's a aspiring comedian who wants to basically build his life in a comedy. And as you see in the trailers, this is basically the origin story for the Joker.
Yep.
And as the movie goes along, he realizes that being a regular guy, with the way that society treats him and everything, he pretty much starts to delve into madness after some stuff goes down. And basically,
he's got mental
illness as well.
And it shows that, like, as the movie progresses, the story gets darker and the shit he goes through, it starts driving him mad.
Yeah, and it starts to basically he starts losing his mind, and he slowly starts into becoming his wild alter ego, the Joker, that he's known from the comics under. And here's a little back. It's directed by Todd Phillips, and this was actually a departure from a lot of his other films, because Todd Phillips is known for comedy movies like The Hangover, Old School, and all that.
Yeah.
And here's a little backstory. Now, ever since I heard the talk about them doing a Joker film, like a standalone Joker film, it got me curious for a while, because when it was originally announced, I was kind of wondering, because since DC has been doing their own DC Extended Universe over the years, they decided that for a long time they wanted to do a departure from the current universe.
And I don't want to go in too big of a detail on DCU, but I think it's safe to say we all know how big of a fucking mess it is.
It's hit and miss for the most part. There are great movies, but you can tell that the universe is having its problems.
It has its problems so bad. I mean, if you guys know, we've already lost Batman, Superman, and fucking Flash.
Well, Flash, they actually got him back on, so that's still open.
I don't know. I haven't read. I know that the last thing I heard, that dude was gone. The problem of keeping people, the messy, the battles behind, I don't have to go in more detail, so I was ready for, a change.
Yeah, and the Joker has always been one of my favorite villains in comics, and, I've always loved him in many different incarnations following the live action and everything. And to this day, I always considered Heath Ledger's performance as like legendary, iconic from The Dark Knight. And looking forward to this, it got me really interested, because I thought, originally when Martin Scorsese was executive producer of this at one point,
and he was originally going to have director.
He supposedly produced it.
They wanted.
It was still Todd Phillips.
Well, there was actually before Todd Phillips. They were wanting to go for Martin Scorsese, and then he got moved to executive producer,
and he wanted
Leo DiCaprio to play the Joker. And then whenever Martin Scorsese decided to stick with The Irishman, which is coming out next month, and wanted to give his devoted attention on that, he left. Pretty much erased Leo, and Todd Phillips has always had this thing for Joaquin Phoenix. He that guy. Something about him. I think he'd be a perfect casting choice.
Yeah, and I've always enjoyed Joaquin Phoenix. A lot of movies he's done. It's just that you can tell that for a long time he was very picky when it comes to certain scripts that they did. Yeah, and it always seemed like out of his norm, so to speak, as far as superhero movies.
Well, one of my all-time performances of his is Johnny Cash in Walk the Line, which I thought he was phenomenal in, and going back to Heath Ledger, he's got a lot of, shoes to fill. And I don't expect him to fill it 100% because Heath Ledger is iconic.
He was like the defined Joker that did
Ledger was probably, hands down as the Joker, is one of the best performances in cinema history. Yeah. I mean, it's that iconic. In fact, it's going to be talked about to the end of time. Right. In fact, it's going to define when, in the future, it's going to be used as an example of making films later on. Yeah. I mean, that's how iconic it is.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
And I'm not expecting him to be Heath. I want him to give his own unique take. And, man, upon seeing this film, holy shit, this was good.
This was fucking outstanding. As you can tell, I'm already prepared with my Joker shirt.
Joaquin Phoenix is up there with Heath Ledger. in my opinion.
He's tied, like, they're on the same fucking level.
Oh my god, the fact that he was able to define his own way of telling of the Joker and not carbon copying anything, and man,
that's how you do it, because even going back to Heath Ledger real quick, that's what Heath Ledger did with his, because a lot of people going into his performance was the same with, like, he was going to copy Jack Nicholson and stuff. Yeah, it's great when they do their own takes on these.
Here's a thing that I noticed: Heath Ledger and Joaquin Phoenix being the best two Jokers in history, and them two are the only ones who really dug deep in their characters. And what I mean by that, Heath Ledger and how he made himself go mad, and made the makeup himself and just drove himself insane. And there's theories about conspiracy theories. He went nuts.
Yeah.
And he tragically died. I'm not gonna get into that. But anyways, he studied his character so hard. Joaquin Phoenix did the same thing in this one, where he actually went to a sane asylum and studied actual mentally,
and he lost a lot of fucking weight. He pulled a Christian Bale from The Machine. It's like
he actually did a study where he got a bunch of books of mental illness, of like mental illness that has something where they just have spouts of laughter, but in pain. And he studied all this, and he used it to his advantage. And them two are the hardest working people who did that. And surprisingly enough, the hard work pays off. They were two of the best Jokers.
And the third now is probably, for me, is Jack Nicholson. But I see what you're saying. Yeah, they put so much time in. And this movie, like, he fucking nails it so bad.
Oh my god!
You can see not only the madness that he dives into, but he starts out as just a regular guy who just has a mental illness. He's an everyday guy who wants to, try to do good in society, take care of his mother and everything, and then. We'll have a separate spoiler discussion, by the way, to go in more detail. But basically, as you see it, he starts to notice that when he gets abused over, like you see in the trailer, beat up and shit, and the way that society gets to him, you can see the madness that he progresses. And the moment he starts getting into that, it starts to become a fucking different movie altogether. It becomes like a horror movie.
I actually loved this story. Pros, like we said, Joaquin Phoenix. Oh my god, man, you fucking nailed it out of the park. Another thing, the story, the writing in this film is fucking phenomenal.
It is a little derivative of, because I've heard some people have many comparisons to Taxi Driver, and I haven't seen all Taxi Driver, but I can see where the movie's coming from. But to its extent, though, I still like the way the movie dealt with things in context-wise. On its story on its own, it still, I felt, worked.
Like Taxi Driver, I have seen bits and pieces of, and it does get. I've heard criticism that it's carbon copied Taxi Driver.
Scenes and
almost 70% of it or 80% of it is a carbon copy. Can't really criticize it. I don't know. I haven't seen the full movie of Taxi Driver. I've seen bits and pieces. I can see that Todd Phillips has an inspiration from the movie.
And also The King of Comedy, which is another underlooked Scorsese film from the 80s, because in that film, in this movie, De Niro plays a character that's similar to his character from that movie, where he's a comedian.
But anyways, the plot, the writing was brilliant. Todd Phillips, his cinematography, the atmosphere he creates around this madness, holy shit.
I love the visuals. Look. Like
I like the grainy. It's like it's almost like it almost goes borderline Grindhouse.
Or kind of like 70s kind of look. Like those old school, 70s gritty crime thrillers.
It's a mixture of that. But yet, I loved how the visually captured of Gotham looks.
Yeah.
It looks straight out grittiness.
It reminds me of the old Tim Burton Batman.
Yeah, that was neo-noir.
Yeah, but it has a similar kind of feel.
It does, but this one was the more grittier version.
Yeah.
I'm glad he didn't polish Gotham.
Yeah.
He made it look realistic. He made it felt like it's genuinely real.
Yeah. I'd say a more better example is the Gotham TV series. The way it's kind of like that kind of
it's kind of like that. Yeah. But anyways, I love how it transitioned on some parts where it's very ice clear with the neon lights.
It really flows with the symbolism they use too. Where certain scenes, like you see in the bathroom when he goes in, it's all fucking green, and you can see him just slowly doing his chi thing, whatever he's doing. The score,
Yeah.
I gotta admit, man, that fucking score was haunting. Did it kind of remind you of like another certain movie that kind of had that similar, like it kind of sounded like Hans Zimmer's kind of music in a way from the Dark Knight trilogy?
No,
in certain scenes,
maybe a little bit, but no, I think it's its own. It has its own original score. Like, I can't explain it. It does kind of feel very westerny at some times, where you hear some of the violin playing.
Mm-hmm. It sounds like an A24 movie's score, kind of like that, like a Hereditary.
I think that's why it kind of felt like going for. But anyways, I like the transition of like, this is a different type of Joker film. The study of the mental illness is some of the most, dug deep, and I thought Split was more like it was deep in the whole mental illness. Right. This one did it really 10 times more,
and it was also,
and you see the progression, and you know what? It makes a lot of sense. It tries to teach you that on a realistic standpoint about fucking with people and driving them insane, and what it takes a realistic life approach of, like, it's almost like Joker could be real. Yeah, like, if you were really trying to fuck with somebody, and people need to learn not to fuck with people because you can drive them fucking mad. And I love that approach.
I do too. Yeah. And I also, and this is me because I'm also big, I'm glad to see they're finally doing something with it after we've seen it a long time. Given for what it is, it was also cool to see Arkham Asylum in this movie too.
Arkham Asylum.
I'm glad they took it to its advantage what they could do.
And if you saw in the trailers, we see Thomas Wayne, and we see
young Bruce Wayne.
Young Bruce Wayne. We see Alfred. Yeah. In it, which was kind of cool because there's a lot of hints to, what happens. And I'm not. Well, we're going to talk more deeper.
We'll go on that,
but because there was a fucking surprising ending I didn't think they were going to do, and I'll tell you what, I was so fucking glad they went that route. It makes me have hope.
Yes, absolutely.
What they might do.
The other thing I got to appreciate too was, and I'm so glad this movie decided to go with this route. Finally, after I'd say about 10 years, since probably the Watchmen, we finally get a DC film that has balls and take an R-rated approach. This movie gets fucking brutal.
Brutal, man. Yeah. Gruesome. This was like some fucking Charles Bronson's fucking Death Wish, like, type shit.
There's even a scene that reminds me straight out of Death Wish.
There's like fucking shootings, brains getting blown out, and I didn't expect this movie to be that brutal, and I was like, holy fuck, I am glad they went this route.
Yeah, we haven't. Yeah. It's weird because the last time we even had an R-rated movie that pushed that boundary of DC was Watchmen. So it was great that DC's coming back and doing more stuff like this.
This movie was incredibly violent, and I was fucking glad.
And I just love the way that it really dives into the psychological feel of him, learning about stuff. And there's also, what I love about the direction too, there are scenes where his character, not going to go with spoilers, but you think that he's doing something, but then it turns out to be something else, and it's like, okay, that was pretty fucking cool. I like the way they did that.
And they also point out classic parts of other takes of Batman in the animated series, like the Killing Joke, Dark Knight Returns.
Yeah, there's elements they bring from those comics,
and I'm glad they did that because it's like they're paying homage to everything that they've done that had Joker in it.
Yeah, and there's even, and I'm not going to spoil, but there's even some hints of Tim Burton's Batman in there too. Yep, which I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, this movie was just everything. I just so appreciated.
I was blown away.
Like, there's more I can go into.
Shocked.
If I had really any minor thing, other than if I really put myself down and tried to study it between this and Taxi Driver, it can seem derivative from what people have said. If I really compared both of them,
if you watch this in Taxi Driver,
right? But as its own movie, and given for what it is, everything that I've seen of this to me is going to go down as one of the best DC films we have seen in years. I'm going to put this definitely on my top 10 best movies of the year.
This movie is probably one of the best DC films I've ever saw, up there with Dark Knight. If I had a con, this is going to be a weird con. I'm going to be pissed if this is not used
if they don't do the
anymore. Yeah. How can you have this and not fucking use it?
Yeah.
And I'm telling you right now, DC is notorious for that shit. Look at the bad fucking villain choices they've had, and then now they want to do something different with another universe, and they're fucking redeem themselves.
That's what I'm saying. They're doing right by setting these movies up.
Yeah.
I'm like, if in the future they decide to do something with this,
I hope they do.
Because Todd Phillips has said, if in the future, if he wants to do a sequel, he might. But that all depends. But given for what it is, the movie still sets itself apart because it actually feels a standalone movie. It doesn't set up any future sequels.
And I'll warn you, and for people who's probably watching who might have kids, if you think this is like a comic book movie, it's not.
No, this is a different
This is a character study, and this is one of the best character studies I've seen in a long time.
This is, that's what I'm saying. Like, this is up there with, like, American Psycho and those kind of movies that really dive into the fucking mind of a crazy motherfucker.
Yeah, and I like I said earlier, this gave the best interpretation of what if we had a real Joker in our world.
Besides Dark Knight.
No, this is more.
I know, but
because that one just went straight into the superhero part. This one is a character study of somebody who is that fucking crazy. And trust me, I've seen insane asylums before. I used to work in a hospital. There's people that could have that potential.
Yeah, I got nuts. You. Yeah,
and it's fucking a great buildup.
It is definitely.
Yeah. With that being said, this movie is in my top 3. Probably my second favorite film of the year. Might almost be tied with the first one of the year. This film was amazing. This is a phenomenal grade in the Film Phreeks meter.
I agree, absolutely, 100%. It's a phenomenal grade on the Film Phreeks meter as well.
Yep.
Congratulations, DC. You're really fucking making a comeback with these movies.
Yep.
So with that, for those of you who have also seen Joker, let us know in the comments below of what you thought about it. And if you like what you see here, you can feel free to like and subscribe to our channel, and check out some other reviews here and our website at filmphreeks.com. And we'll be seeing you in our next review.
See ya.
We'll see you later.